And now we take over even more. We have the way forward pointed out to us at the top of the screen. Follow the arrow to advance the story. The number shows the distance to your destination. I don't know what metric it uses. It's probably meters. This is British game, so to speak, because every voice actor is British. Originally, of course, it's Japanese, but it is not necessarily formulated for an American audience, in case you guys have not noticed just yet. But that is okay, we can move around with it anyway. And now we have been told how to work the camera. Press C to display the camera instructions. I usually just kind of double click it, if memory serves me correctly. We can look at the camera tutorial if we want. We can zoom, we can move it. I don't particularly like moving it too much. I like just having it behind us, if that makes sense. Press the minus button to open the menu where you can save your progress. You cannot save during battles and story events. However, you can save in most other situations. You can save a lot. Pretty much any time you're not in battle, you can save. Or in cutscenes and stuff like that. You can save almost any time. You can review the tutorials at any time. Thank you. That is not necessary at this point. Further tutorials are added as you play the game. View these to see more information about topics that have already been introduced. You just hit the plus button when that pops up and it will tell you. Like that. We've learned about leveling up. Well, we've learned more about the camera here. Move the camera freely, reset the camera, zoom in, zoom out. Briefly pressing, oh, you just press it once, that's right. Briefly pressing C centers the camera behind the player character. The camera position will stay fixed as long as C is held down. That one I don't think I knew. This thing is going to be huge, this tutorial section. Oh, wow, we already have some new stuff. This is actually going to be important, so I'm going to go over this. I won't go over all the tutorials in detail because some of them are self-explanatory, but I will explain, the first battle tactics here. Shulk's talent art, the first one is Turn Strike. Talent art means it's the one in the middle. My talent art is Turn Strike. It deals a lot of damage and can inflict break on the enemy. The talent gauge fills up when I auto attack, so it's vital to auto attack and not just use arts all the time, to some extent. I let Ryan bear the brunt of the attacks. He can take a lot more knocks to the head than I can. Yeah, leave it to me. I distract the monsters and draw the aggro while you do damage with backslash. Don't let me down. I'd rather inflict break, but whatever. When Ryan's feeling the heat a bit, I can use Light Heal to help him get back in the game. Thanks, Shulk. But make sure you don't draw too much aggro yourself. Sometimes you just want to lay off the arts for a while. That's not always the way that I want it to work, but when you start the game, that is sometimes the way that it has to work. All right, Ryan is different. He has a talent art, once again, the one in the middle, of Mad Taunt. My talent art is Mad Taunt. It provokes monsters to attack me, drawing their aggro. It distracts them from the others so they don't get attacked. The talent gauge fills up when I auto-attack. Now, this is something that took me way too long to figure out, but indeed it is true. You can control Ryan right now if you want to. You don't have to stick with Shulk, but to be honest, I prefer using Shulk. But I'll use everybody else along the way. Ryan, of course, being one of the others. My job is to protect Shulk. I let my talent gauge fill up and use Mad Taunt to draw aggro. Pretty nifty, right? The talent gauge fills up when you use Bone Upper, too. Pretty useful when we need Mad Taunt. If a monster is suffering from break, I can use Wild Down to topple it. Good or what? Yeah, I'll break them with Turn Strike, and then you topple them with Wild Down. We'll go over what that means right now. Break, topple, and daze. It's essentially a status effect combo. I haven't seen too many games that use it, and I do like it, I do have to say. There are some points when it gets a little aggravating, but for the most part, I like how this works. It's interesting. So, inflicting topple. Attack an enemy with a break art to inflict break. Attack an enemy suffering break with a topple art to inflict topple. An enemy will not be able to attack or move while suffering topple. So you can use break on it, and it'll have more damage done to it. But then you can inflict topple on top of break. It has to be on top of break for the time being. And when that happens, the enemy will stop moving, which is always nice. Attack an enemy suffering topple with a Daze art to inflict Daze. The enemy will still not be able to attack or move. Also, its aggro will not increase. This is a chance for characters with lower defense to deal damage. So essentially you go break, topple, Daze. Once it's in topple, then you need somebody that can inflict Daze. It has to be part of the art, though. You can't just do it by damage, if that makes sense. It has to be something part of the attack itself. All right, we got an affinity coin. We'll go over that in a little bit. We also got a level, which is important. We do need levels. And we get Caterpillar syrup and a broken antenna, none of which is particularly useful. But we are at the Mechon wreckage site. And just go ahead and hit the button and it just turns for me. Ever so nice. If you see any glowing blue orbs, pick them up. That's what I'm looking for right now. I don't think any spawn here, but it's always worth a double check. All right, we're ready to head back to town. I don't believe any of these enemies will fight me unless I fight them first. But we will show off new enemies here. We have a little bunnet first, and I can attack it from behind. Oh, we are going to kill so many friendly looking creatures as we go through this. Little bunnet is just the first of it. All right. As you can see, not that much damage being done to me, not that difficult of a fight, but for killing that little bunnet, you do get a treasure chest with a stiff hair in it. The little bunnet, there's nothing important that it drops, just for the record. He's got a little friend over here. He can live. There we go. We have a little skeeter, and there's two little skeeters. We'll take on one of the little skeeters. These guys are a little bit more difficult to target from time to time. The flying enemies are a little harder to see. Some enemies will start fighting you if you attack anything close to them, but early on they're being particularly nice to you. Now you can spend some time grinding here, but ooh, that's a good treasure chest. There are levels of treasure chests. The lowest one being the wooden one. I believe this is considered the silver one. You get a sweet nectar, small skeeter crystal, and 9 bottoms. That is a armor that we can use. Now the little skeeters, they only appear during the day. There is a day-night cycle in this game, but they still do not drop anything particularly important. All right. Let's move on, see if I can find any new enemies. Otherwise, we will just move forward. Here's one of the glowing blue orbs that I talked about. And that brings up a tutorial. That is a collectible, and this is the Collectopedia. The latest additions to your collections can be registered in the Collectopedia. Fill in a row or collect all of the items in an area to receive a reward. Collectopedia is there on the menu. We'll be going through the menu quite a bit. We'll know where it is. And we have collected a dance apple. I'm going to need a lot of dance apples as we go forward, but for the time being, I have the one. All right, more little bunnets and little skeeters. I am not interested in fighting more of them, but I will pick up more of these. A cool potato. How many of those do I need? I'm going to need a few of those as well. A little skeeter there. Ooh, another common Caterpillar. Now, the one that we fought before was technically a quest enemy, and it's a little different from the normal ones. So let's go ahead and attack these, since they are considered the normal ones. Oh, I let it do a lot of damage to me. I'm not using the proper tactics to take on this level 1 enemy. But we did inflict break, and Ryan goes ahead and does the topple on his own. If you haven't figured it out yet, we are in control of Shulk. Ryan is auto-controlled by the game. Your party members will be controlled by the game, and usually particularly well. The game does a pretty good job of that, with one exception. And we got a helmet out of that. Battle Gear helmet and some Caterpillar syrup. That's something. Once again, not particularly useful. All right, more little bunnets and little skeeters. Not too interested in that. There are much more effective ways of leveling than fighting these enemies. All right, the Dawn Hydrangea, I am going to need quite a bit. Once I find one that's the only one that I need, I will go ahead and access the Collectopedia. That's why I'm constantly checking. All right, Strong Dandelion, that one is the only one that we need. So let's go ahead and look at our Collectopedia. It is in the items section of the menu. There's inventory, gem crafting, which is blacked out. We can't do that, and the Collectopedia. So the Collectopedia is sorted into sections. Right now we have Colony 9, and if we go over to the right, you can see Other. But for the time being, we are just interested in what we have already. I have the Cool Potato, the Dance Apple, the Strong Dandelion. That's the one that I care about. Let's go ahead and press the A button to record the Strong Dandelion. I have one, and I need one. There it goes. Known for its small black petals, the roots make a throat medicine. We also have a Dawn Hydrangea and a White Beetle. Where did we pick up a White Beetle? That's the only one of those I need. All right, put that in too. A beetle with white stripes beats its smooth wings to call. Oh, isn't that nice? And we're already 11% complete with Colony 9's Collectopedia. Achievement, once again, one is never enough. Ooh, that is not what I wanted to do. If you're in the menu and you hit the Z button, which I was using to target, it'll tell you what you're supposed to do in terms of moving forward with the quest. Shulk and Ryan have managed to fight off their assailant. Rain now has to get back for his shift with the defense force, so Shulk and Ryan decide to return to Colony 9, which is actually where we are going. Back to Colony 9. I say back, but technically we haven't been there. But Shulk and Ryan have many times. And another black kiwi. I will deal with the rest of these off screen for a good portion of it. But we have an introduction to Colony 9 here, don't we?
Here we are. I better stop in at HQ. You off to the weapon development lab?
Yeah, when I've sold any parts I can't use.
All right, see you later.
And now Ryan has left the party, so we get an organized party screen. All we really have is Shulk, so there's not much to organize there. One thing has been bothering me a little bit. All right, we can visit the shops. Welcome, you can buy and sell anything here. Every shopkeeper has a tent above their head. It's a little interesting, I must say, but it makes it easily identifiable, so that's something. You can sell loot, make money by defeating monsters and selling your loot to a shop. I will be doing that at some point. Expensive loot is shiny. It has a little shiny symbol on it, and inexpensive loot is in a small bag, just in case you were wondering, but you should be able to figure it out from the price tag when you're trying to sell it. But for the time being, I'm going to hold on to my loot. There's a reason for that. And accepting quests. Press A to talk to anyone with an exclamation mark above their head. Complete the quests they give to receive money, XP, or items. Trading. Press 2 to trade with named individuals. Some of them will gladly take an item you don't need in exchange for a rare item. That is indeed the case a lot of times. I'm not that big of a fan of trading, but I will have to do it. I'm going to put it off for a while. We'll be doing a lot of work in the optional section of this Let's Play, including the Collectopedia, and that is going to involve trading. I'm also going to take all of these side quests in the optional part. If you're just going to be sticking to the main part, we're just going to run right through for the time being. Enjoy quests and trading alongside the story, or grind. Those are pretty much your two options. The story will progress even if you don't do any trading or complete any quests. However, using these features may give you an advantage in the game, like levels. Most of the levels that we get are probably going to come from side quests. That's just the way that it's going to have to go.
Cool.
But I got another level for discovering the main entrance and the commercial district. We also got AP and SP. We'll go over that more later. But it's time to just kind of run around Colony 9. You can see named individuals here. There was Liliana. There's Dorothy. This over here is actually Dunban's house. So we get the location for Dunban's house. A little bit more experience on that as well. All right, we can head to our first shop here. It is this guy here. There's also Marcia who wants to give us a quest, but we'll take care of all the side quests and the optional stuff for the time being. We're just looking around. We get a landmark, which is different from a location. We get an ether light landmark there, but for the time being, let's talk to the shop. We'll see what you have for sale. I probably don't have much money though. How much money do I have? I have 3,000 G. Let's go with gold. Select the item you wish to buy and press A to buy it. Thank you for buying items tutorials. Hold down Z and press the D-pad left and right to select a character and display what their stats would be with the item equipped. Remember to equip purchased items by selecting change equipment from the menu. And we can find some expensive stuff here. As you can see, everything's kind of grayed out here because Shulk cannot equip it. We have the acrylic driver, the iron pike, and the rusty garter. Those are all for Rhine. Then we also have defense knives. Shulk can't use them. I wonder who can. We can head up here and we can start looking at things like helmets. We actually picked up some battle gear. There's also the 9 cap available. Then there's something really expensive called the prototype helm. Newly developed by the Holmes Army, prototype number 21, Army Surplus. Cannot buy it, too expensive. Nobody in my party can use it now anyway. But you'll start to see some things like this. This S on the 9 top stands for slot. That means there is an empty slot where we can put gems into. Now, we haven't gotten a gem yet, so that's not really that important, but know that for later. There is also U. This is for a unique item. The bikini top, Shulk does not wear that. I couldn't afford it anyway, even if you wanted to see him in it. This unique item and all unique items come with a gem already in it. In this case, it's an HP up 2. So by equipping that, we will increase whoever's wearing the bikini's HP. And it's not going to be Shulk, he refuses to do it. So pretty much the same thing over here. We have more gloves, I guess you could say. We've got cuffs and gauntlets and an amulet, which apparently is worn on the hand. All of that will increase things as necessary. Physical defense, ether defense. I probably don't need to explain those too much, other than ether is essentially magic, if you're not familiar with the term. Pretty much the same as magic. Then there's bottoms, including the bikini bottoms, but we cannot equip that on anybody or afford it. Then there's boots, but the important thing here are these. These are the art manuals, and this is pretty much the only thing that I'm ever going to buy in a shop. I'm not that big of a fan of buying things at shops. Typically we find stuff that's better. But when you purchase an art manual, it allows you to increase the levels of your art. We already have some levels available to us, so buying these right now is not that big of a deal. You might recognize some of these names because we have seen them. We have seen Bone Upper in the tutorial. That is one of Rhine's arts. But we don't really need to purchase that right now because he's not in our party. Backslash down here, that is going to be very good for Shulk, but we don't need to do that just yet. Just know that these are the ones that are here. Bone Upper, Slit Edge, Hammer Beat, Wild Down, and Backslash. We'll have plenty of opportunities to buy these though. And I will once again take care of that off screen. Thank you, please come again. And once again, didn't want to sell anything just yet. It's a little early, but we do get an update there for the tutorial about quests. We can view the quest log. We will be using that a lot. There's so many quests in this game that it's hard to keep track of them sometimes. So we will be using the quest log quite a bit. I have a walkthrough specifically to help me manage how often I look in the quest log. Any quests that you will be unable to complete once the story progresses too far will be accompanied by a stopwatch icon. These are time quests. If you look towards the middle of the screen, there's a quest called Romantic Notions of a Girl. That is a quest that we will indeed get at some point. That has a little stopwatch next to it, as they call it. That's referred to as a timed quest. If you go too far in the story, that will stop being a quest that you can complete. You will have failed the quest, essentially. Now, they don't tell you when it actually expires, but I will make sure that you guys know when there's a point where there's going to be an expiration on a quest. Try to complete quests with a stopwatch as soon as you can. That's not always the easiest thing to do, though, game. Quest completion in an area of affinity. When your affinity with an area increases, a star will be displayed on the affinity chart. New quests will be available as affinity with an area increases. I'll be mostly taking care of this in the optional videos, but it's good to know kind of how deep this game can go. High affinity will also mean that you will be able to trade more items and accept more quests. They didn't say that, but you do need affinity to get some of the larger quests, or the harder quests, really. And then there's equipment. It kind of makes sense. I've already gone over the difference between normal slot and unique. There's also a gem man in Colony 9. We can talk to him for more information about gems, but we will do that later. I think that will be it. Is there anything that is considered new? You guys don't sort it that way, do you? Looks like we are all done here with the tutorials for the time being. We have discovered a place called Ether Light. There are a ton of people around here. There you can see the Ether Light. Let's look up at it. Ooh. It looks a lot better at night, but there it is. We need to zoom out a bit. There we go.